Back in October of 2006, we created a documentary for the public on cat herding and how socially necessary it is to begin to corral these cats that have gotten out and begin to spread across the plains and the prairies of IT. Now, we knew this was coming. Decades ago, we'd started the battle between IBM and the Unix. The asynchronous platforms was raging out there. It was the mainframes versus the mini computers wars of the time. So we all wore helmets, sidearms, just to be safe. So we'd been training. We'd already saved the world from Y2K. Few appreciated the work we did, but those were the times, years of looking for EPROMs and reading machine codes and looking at end devices spanning the globe and seeing where inventories were. So, those were the days. The work, the effort put into saving the globe from Y2K. So, and we survived. We're here, so that was good. Well, some years before the cat program was released, we began internally developing the program on how to herd cats. It was a professional endeavor with dozens of rocket scientists and Illuminatis and many other folks engaged in this across the globalists involved. So in trying to construct the cat coursework, we went through the vagaries of spectrum analysis and herd theory. We did stochastic analysis and decided which casino should win. And none of it worked, but it was all good planning. So this was EDS, Electronic Data System, Ross Perot's thing. He invented, basically because he was a Marine and liked Marines, and then he figured out how to timeshare computers, which was mainframes. So I wasn't in mainframes, I was in these microcomputers, the competition, the small clusters out there doing things in a different atmosphere and arena. So these cats people spoke of were far off things. We knew they were out there. And we developed the coursework. We went through helping companies integrate their robots, their conveyor systems to new methods. We replaced chains with robots. We replaced people with robots, automation work cells, and robots handing things to robots and people getting out of the way. So they were replaced slowly over time, and the cats were okay. So when that specific coursework was developed and released, being one of the herders out amongst the herd and the grazers, I want to apologize to all the cats. I did apologize in multiple meetings, trying to integrate some of the largest software systems, communicating with multiple languages, multiple communications protocols, multiple wars between IT vendors and protocols, the battle between Novell networks and whatever we've got now. That was those battles, those skirmishes. Is Novell still out there? So those were the war days. This was the reason that we tried to learn how to herd cats, and it failed. But it was an interesting exercise. Those were the days. Remember them well. We spent years developing interlocks because someone in the plant I worked in a few bays down was squeezed to death by a piece of automation accidentally. That was a tough, it's what can happen out there in the robot world with humans around. So we spent maybe 5 years. I helped redesign control panel schemas and the standards for the actual drawings engineers were using. That was my little piece inside of one little piece inside of this adventure into artificial intelligence taking over the world. Now, what was interesting is I worked for EDS, but my original employer had told EDS they couldn't make me an offer back in the day when I was just a beginner. So I couldn't talk to EDS, but I did anyway and knew what was going on. It's just a matter of who did better computers in my field. So there were some cattails around, growing out in the swamps. But that commercial was historic, classic. And it offended so many cats. My hackles were up, you know. There's a little cat story. A little story in history of creating supply chains across the globe for just-in-time systems to get you your car, to get you your health services. How about some professional experience inside of Medicare and Medicaid data sets? This is the real world that's out there. That's big data. Data your little laptops can hardly touch. But you can. I don't know which litter box you're playing in.